Hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network, episode 38. This is our weekly music production, technology, and marketing podcast. Today, we all happen to be a little bit under the weather, so I apologize if we're slightly low energy, but we appreciate you hanging out, and we've got a lot to talk about despite that. It is Thanksgiving tomorrow here in America, so happy Thanksgiving to all of our American friends. But we are talking a lot about Black Friday deals. There's a ton of stuff going on, but we've also got some gear because what would life be without new gear? My name is Sunwarper, and with me today is Eon Lake. How are you, my friend?
Hey, man, I'm good. Yeah, doing all right.
What you been up to?
Mixing.
You sound like a broken record. Not just in repetition right now, but I think the last 3 weeks you've said mixing.
Yeah, I've been getting a little bit sidetracked, a little bit sort of like, just needs a little bit more of this while I'm halfway through doing a mix, which isn't unusual. It's part of the process, really. But it's going all right. I'm about halfway through.
This is an album, right?
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
Yes, I was described recently as a maximalist electronic producer.
I'm with you there, man. How many tracks is the most tracks you've had on a track?
Well, it's not actually that many, certainly not compared to our good friend over there.
But yeah, what was that song, Axis, right? That had 60 or 80 tracks? Yeah.
I've gone over 60 before, but I don't do that so much now. But even so, I mean, when you're using very thick sounds, big sounds, normally you shouldn't have too many of those, but I seem to do it anyway. I EQ them around each other and filter them around each other a lot.
That's what I was going to say. As long as you notch EQ, then everything sits nice and tidy in the mix, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What are you eyeing for a release?
Sorry?
What are you eyeing for a release for? Do you have any times in mind that you're going to release it? Or is it just once it's done mixing, I'll worry about that stress?
It's not scheduled yet. It's going to be a long way off. Yeah.
All right.
There's going to be a lot of other stuff coming from me in the meantime. And that's what's ticking away in the back of my head because I feel like I'm nearly at the end of something. What's next? I don't like to take a break. I like to have something to dive straight into.
Yeah.
So think about that as well.
Cool.
So what about you, man? What have you been up to?
Sick. And that's how I woke up this morning. But other than that, I've been procrastinating on that mix I'm working on for that performance on December 4th. So I got to get to that soon. I think I'm just going to make a very long mix and play it through my SP to do effects. Because I'm just background music, It's nothing crazy, so I don't need to be performing parts and things like that. So I think my setup is going to be like what I did in the video yesterday over on my channel with the iPad and the audio going into the SP and just doing performative effects and mastering on the SP because I really love that setup, especially using Koala as the main sample chopping stuff and beats, sequencing, and then just sending it all through the SP is a lot of fun. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. I do have a release coming out Friday that I had forgot about. So yeah, if anybody wants to check out some new music, that'll be out on my Bandcamp and Audionautics Bandcamp on Friday.
And streaming platforms?
Yeah, of course. I get it all out everywhere at one time because it just, it's nice to have it there if someone wants to find it. I should also say we are live. Thanks to everyone joining us in the chat. What have you been up to this week? We are also joined, of course, by our Audionautic co-pilot, Curtis. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, getting there. It's been one of those mental weeks.
I'm with you.
Yeah, it's always nice. All again, shut your eyes and you're back again, and it's Wednesday, so which is always nice. Yeah. I've been up in the mountains. I went away. It was you guys have got Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow. Last Thursday we had Strife for Freedom and Freedom and Democracy Day, which is the date of the Velvet Revolution here in the Czech Republic. So everyone got a day off, and so we took it off and then went off to the mountains for 4 days. Went up to massive sandstone gate and walked up a couple of mountains. Good fun.
Nice.
It's always very much so. It's so we were staying in this pension, this little B&B thing, and it was dead quiet. It was just so quiet and no not even a car from the road, not even a cow or a sheep or anything. It was just dead quiet, like, almost if you're sitting in one of those rooms quiet where it's like there's always something buzzing, there's always something humming, but this was just nothing, and it was really serene, really quite surreal at first. It was like,
sounds wonderful.
Makes the tinnitus very apparent though, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's when I was like, okay, cool, all right, let's not listen to music for a while. Yeah. But yeah, it was good fun. It was a lot of fun, much needed. I love Prague. Prague's a great city, but there's a lot of concrete, and I like trees and nature, and so yeah, it's good to get out. So yeah, that's what I've been up to, and then we've been doing all that.
That's the way to do it. Should we get into some news?
Yes, we should say. We should get into some news. We should say that as well. This stream is brought to you by our patrons, which is always nice. We love you. Thank you ever so much indeed. If you wanted to support the work we do, we are growing here. If you wanted to support the work that we do, head up to Patreon, audionautic.com/Patreon.
Patreon.com/audionautic. Don't make my mistake. Yeah. But if you just want it the easiest way, the link is in the description if you want to check it out. We've got exclusive content. And a Twitter group, also a Discord group if you don't want to be on Twitter. That's for patrons only, where we talk about all kinds of stuff. You can ask questions. We talk about gear and all that good stuff.
All that good stuff. We're actually starting from, I think it's this weekend. I think it's
Sunday.
We're starting a new form of Star Stream where it's a 30-minute hangout. We're just going to log on like this, but basically not broadcast and just have a chat. It's gonna be good fun.
Yeah, when we first tested out the live setup for Audionautic, for ADSN, I should say, we hung out with just the patrons. They came on and we just had a talk just to see if everything was working, and we had so much fun that we wanted to bring that back and chill and get to know what everybody's working on. We can all kind of learn things together. What tips and tricks do we all have we been finding out, and share them, and it's just a great way to grow together, which is our motto: together we grow.
I thought it was make it sound good, dude.
We have a few, but the Patreon motto and the community motto is together we grow.
It's fair.
The mantra is make it sound good, dude.
Yeah. We're on the same wavelength then. So let's have a look at news. Yeah. It's pretty. We'll kick off with a Juby, shall we? This is fantastic. The Patreon chat went alive at the news of this. Absolutely. I mean, if you want to get,
is this what I think it is?
Yeah. If you want to get a bunch of ambient down tempo guys talking, it is the new release out of Valhalla Supermassive. Absolutely fantastic. They got two new releases. One more time.
What is it? What's that then? Supermassive.
Oh wow!
It's only the greatest plugin ever.
This is perhaps God's gift to ambient producers. It really is. That's what it is.
Really is.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. Completely and utterly free. Fantastic delay and reverb machine. Very low CPU, and it just
got a warmth to it, hasn't it? It sounds like an old analog box, but it does beat sync and everything as you'd expect it to.
I love that warp. The warp setting is awesome.
Warp setting is wonderful. If you're new to the channel, we've been raving about Valhalla Supermassive since we started this because we all love it. And they have just released. Oh, hello, Tina. They've just released two new presets: the Scorpio, which I'm rather fond of personally, and also the Libra as well. So two new kind of modes, and then within that they'll all have their own little presets in their own right. So yeah, that's a good. I suppose that's a good start, really, to be honest.
Yeah, the presets are great on that as well.
Now we know that Sunwarper likes to put it to 100 and run it through, say, a guitar or something like that. You've got to crank it to 100. Yeah. We're very well versed.
If it had 110, I would do it.
Very much so. We all are quite well versed with Sunwarper's.
Next update, maybe.
Just the 200 for the next update. Sign me up, man.
Nice to see. It just turned red. Always nice. Eon Lake, what are you going to be doing with the new Scorpio and Libra presets?
I'm going to be mixing tracks that have about 15 instances of it. Various instruments is what I'll be doing. No, well, actually, it'll be interesting to sort of run some things through it and see what's new. I'm often surprised by what settings I end up using on it. I'll usually just run something through it and just listen to what it does to the tone first and see whether it needs to be longer, wider, more chorusy or whatever. So I just tend to scroll through them and sort of see what the range is, what it does to the original sound, and then pick one from there. So I'll start with the newer ones this time and see what it's got. And then, go full Sunwarper at the end, where you just, live in the effects alone, get rid of that nasty, dry, unprocessed.
Who needs transients?
Yeah, get rid of all of that. Just turn something really quite fierce and musical and bouncy into just a drone, a big smear of slowly morphing sound. That's what I'm going to do.
That sounds like a great.
Does that answer your question, mate?
Oh yeah, that very much turns it. You've painted quite the picture. The Bob Ross of ambient sound.
All of those things.
That's very nice. Okay. So yeah, brand new Supermassive from there.
I will say really quickly though, another nice way to use Supermassive on instruments is like just 5%, 10% to just add sound in the spaces, almost like a synth or a drone behind it, kind of like it's sidechained, but it's just a nice little thing to do if you want to add a little more space. I've even put it on distorted guitars like that to really fill out the space. It works.
Yeah, and if you really want to get weird and twisted, you can put all the delays and everything to like short times. I know it's counterintuitive, but the really short stuff, you can get some odd chorusing and phasing effects and stuff without reverb and delay because of the warp and so on you can get on it. It's kind of lends itself to some more modulation effects as well. Interesting.
Yeah,
completely. There's a lot going on in the name of what you can do. I've sent it to an Ascend myself as well. So you take the bus of the guitar and then you put it all through Ascend and just kind of let it reverberate through the entire thing. It's a very versatile little box, and it's a very versatile little box. It's great fun to see. If you haven't seen it, completely free. Go pick it up. Very much so. So yeah, very next up, from very much software to hardware. Very much software. We've got hardware. So the new Moog brings back the Mini Moog Model D. Who put this in the docket?
I did.
Me.
Yeah, I did. You know me and analog synths.
Okay. All right. So Sunwarper, tell us all about what's going on here, shall you?
Honestly, I just saw that it's coming back and threw it in, so that's all you need to know. I mean, the Moog model, Mini Moog Model D is back. I mean, it's just a beast. I don't know if anything more needs to be said, but yeah, it's just a beast of sound. I'm actually not super familiar with Moog synths. I love what I hear of them. I've never owned one. I don't know. Do you have, Howard? Do you have any of the Moog synths or the Behringer clone of it?
27, which I've been loving again recently. We've had a bit of we've got to know each other again.
Oh, nice. They got fat sounds, right? That's like their it's just big bassy.
What's really useful is the analog recall and the fact you can have a plug-in in your door that does full capture of the interface, so you can store your sounds in the actual arrangement and things like that. So that's all very useful. But I've got the copy of the Model D by the B company.
That's what I thought. Yeah. How do you like that?
I don't know the Mini Moog as well as I should. I haven't quite got the hang of how all the controls work. Like the third oscillator sort of doubles as either an oscillator, it could be a sub, or it can be, it can be a modulation source, or you can just use it as yet another oscillator and have three of them running. I haven't quite plumbed the depths of it yet, but it is fat as hell. It really is.
Yeah. I think Moog made an app too, right? I know I have a Model D app on my iPad, and I think it's by them.
They do.
Yeah, that thing's pretty cool because you can see the presets they've made, so you can see how they're using the three oscillators. But Mini Moog Model D synthesizer. It's let's see, I can't see the price.
The wood they've used for the case is lovely. It's some sort of cherry wood or something.
Yeah, they've always got great design.
Locally sourced trees or something. I don't know how many cherry wood trees they've got in Asheville, but it looks really nice. I mean, I even thought about it. I thought, ooh,
I knew it.
And then just thought, don't be stupid, man. It's going to be like £5,000.
Yeah, do we know how much it is, Curtis? Is it said? It's $5,000. Wasn't that how much the Oberheim was as well? last week.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. I think. Okay, so $5,000. Are you gonna have the Oberheim or are you gonna have the Moog Mini D?
The Oberheim will do a lot more.
Yeah, because the Moog is what monophonic.
It is
Yeah.
possibly duophonic. No, I think it's monophonic actually. Yeah. So yeah, I mean the Oberheim will do a lot more. Definitely, it doesn't have the same sort of prestige, and it's not as pretty and so on, but or as iconic. But it's probably a lot more flexible, especially with all the MIDI and all of that stuff, program storage and recall.
I think cool.
Really,
the integration with hold that thought. There is on this new reissue. It does have.
They have included MIDI. Yeah, they've done a few little updates to it. What did they add? I don't remember the last
Curtis,
one.
You got the specs up there, right?
A notched pitch wheel.
Yeah. So they've got
some stuff.
Yeah, a spring-loaded pitch wheel with
£5,000 boutique.
Yeah,
I just got to pause for a second. Your cat.
Tina.
She wants to play the synth. Cats on synthesizers.
I mean, I would be mad, but Tina, do you want to? I'm in the middle of something here.
Do you want to hold a drone and show us how Valhalla sounds? Just have her hit C.
Do it.
It's very unstable, and at this point, it might collapse.
Oh, there we go. Okay, I was gonna say we could get a nice demo of Valhalla. If she holds a C or something, and we could just see what it sounds like.
We'll make her into it, obviously.
But yes, she is. Yeah, she's being a bit mischievous today. So we've got upgrades to So we've got a spring-loaded pitch wheel with a centered deadband. So you've got improved playability. You've got mixer feedback modification, which allows it to
touch.
Yes, aftertouch. Updates to MIDI functionality. So they brought in MIDI so you can integrate it into the studio in a nice way. So,
nice.
I mean, $5,000
yeah,
again.
That's. But it is the Model D. I mean that. That is something.
It's got to be said. I've got to be said. We're talking a bit about Arturia later, but the idea of spoiler alert, by the way. But the idea of the Arturia have the VST version in there.
Well, even just their Moog's own app on iPhone and iOS. I think I want to say it's $5 or $10. I could be wrong, but I mean that's whatever it is. It's definitely much less than $5,000.
Yeah, definitely. We'd like to know if you guys in the chat vibe with this at all. It'd be quite funny to see, quite interesting to see. If you got $5,000 to spend on a synth, is this something that you would do? I'm the same as you, Sam. I've got the iPad ones myself, but
Yeah, or would you get 5 £1,000 synths?
Yeah.
Well, see, that's not the way of doing it. They can make it work. So yeah. Okay, that's a MIDI. So going from we got this new one here. We got a new one out of Arturia. Actually, we talked about Arturia twice because we're talking about them later for the Black Friday deals. But
that's different though. That's just deals. So
that's just deals.
Yeah.
Just deals. It's fine. So yeah, this is the new coming out of Arturia, the Matrixbrute synthesizer. They've got a VST version now, which has come up, which is sounding pretty interesting. You hear that?
Yeah.
So I mean, you guys have got quite a bit of Arturia hardware, haven't you? You vibe with them quite a bit?
No.
Yeah.
I have the Arturia Mini Lab, the what's it called? The MIDI keyboard, which I'm really vibing with. But I have the Microbrute, whatever the smallest little brute is. I think it's the Microbrute, the smallest one.
Yeah.
Not the first one. I think it's the second one, the even smaller, the more compact one.
Does it have the patch panel on it? Is it semi-modular? It doesn't have the little quarter-inch.
I think it just has 3 or something.
Yeah.
It was like the smallest little one because there was one that was a little bit bigger. This one, I never got a good sound out of it. It was always just very
micro mini, isn't it?
Yeah, it was very metallic, which just isn't my vibe. The filter just didn't mesh with me. It's not a bad synth. It's just not a synth that's for me. Let's put it that way, So
send it to me.
Well, if you want to give me something, we can trade it. Yeah. I've had that synth since I think 2014, and I think I used it on officially on one song, and it wasn't even a Sunwarper song. It was before that. So
Are you going to sell it?
You can get some really rude noises out of those, but
that's the thing. It does make cool sounds, like sound effects and stuff.
There was a guy who did a Hans Zimmer track, one of his orchestral tracks. He did the entire thing. Not sure if it was on a micro or a mini brute, and it was really quite amazing. It sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
And it was all done on that one thing.
Yeah, like I said, you can get really cool sounds, and there's a way to change each waveform, like transformation or something. I mean, it's pretty cool. I just couldn't get a sound that I really liked on it, so it just wasn't for me. Yeah, I might sell it or something at some point, but I don't know.
Micro Freak is wonderful, though. I've said it before.
And the Mini Freak looks incredible.
Yeah.
That looks up my alley, like the Mini Freak.
And
but
the Matrixbrute is an absolute beast. I mean, if you don't believe me, dig out the video of Paul Hartnell from Orbital demonstrating.
Is that the one with all the like little touchpad things, the Matrixbrute?
Yeah, it's got the matrix in the middle of it where you do your modulation.
Yeah.
It's got sources and destinations in a big grid, and you can just pair them up like that. It's a monster sounding synth. It really is, and it's characteristic as well. It's I'm quite excited about a software version of it because it's a particular sound. It's got its real own identity. I would like to have one.
I bet you would. I mean...
They do polybrutes now, though, you see, which is even better. It's the same thing, but multi-voice.
In the chat, 59 Perlin says Vermona rules. That's its own synth, though, right? That's not Arturia, I don't think. Isn't that the Vermona Performer or something? Correct me if I'm wrong, Perlin,
yes.
but I think that's its own synth company, not Arturia.
That sounds amazing, though. It does.
It does, yeah. In his videos, they're always awesome with it.
Yes. This one puts a face to a name. We're always seeing it in 59 Perlin's videos. I don't know what it is, and then all of a sudden, bang, there it is. So thank you for that one, man. That's quite useful.
Yeah,
that looks pretty lush.
It's lovely.
That's what you need. So yeah, okay, that's the latest out of Arturia. Oh no, it's a German manufacturer. That's fair enough. Okay. Anything more on Arturia? Or
let's talk about the actual synth that you showed off really quick, because we kind of went on a tangent of other Arturia synths. You want to just read the specs and price of this one?
Yeah, price particularly, please.
Well, okay, so the Matrixbrute itself is an editor in its own way. So the Matrixbrute has complex sound changes. It can go directly from the editor. It's got full integration as you would expect from like the Polybrute or something like that, but just in a VST version. And it's only $7.
What?
It's only $7. The Arturia Matrixbrute MIDI editor, the controller, is available for $7.
Wow.
Right, sorry, yes.
So he's buying it, Eon Lake.
I
think he just is going to pause the video and pause his video.
And the plugin was it? Wow.
It's very much a monosynth, and it's very basic. It's a good way to get into it, and it's all just a bunch of knobs, but they're not real.
Sounded good from that demo.
It sounded like one, definitely.
It did. That's a very good way of putting it. Sounded like one. And for $7, I'm just
that's not too bad at all.
Not bad at all. Again, it seems to be going this way. Like I said, I just bought a new laptop and I'm installing all my VSTs. I'm thinking, I could just buy all the VSTs and just have everything as I go. But we'll have to see where that goes. So yeah, that's the Matrixbrute. Yuhi, the wonderful, wonderful people at Yuhi. Have you seen what's going on at Yuhi?
I'm going to right now, I think.
In theory.
Please enlighten us.
So as some of us know, or you might know, Hans Zimmer is an absolute fan of Yuhi. He loves them. And his favorite, he came out the other week or the other month and said that his favorite VST that he uses is the Zebra. Yeah,
that's the one where you can just drag sections of synth into the sort of chassis and build a synth of your own with the number of LFOs and oscillators and stuff you want, right?
Very much so. Yeah, very much so. So he's been working. It's a very versatile synthesizer in its own right. And he's been working with Yuhi to create the Zebra 2, which is specifically for cinematic kind of sounds, which is really interesting. Cinematic kind of sounds there. I don't know if you guys have used the Zebra or the Zebralet. There's lots of spiky sawtooth sounds. It's very good for EDM, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's very rough. It's a very rough sound. The Zebra 2, from what the introduction has said, or has kind of given us, it's very cinematic. Like I say, Hans Zimmer, classic.
Zimmer-esque.
Zimmer-esque, very much so. Yeah, very much so. And so it's got lots going on here. I mean,
yeah, that is very orchestrally.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's very underscore, very spacey at the same time.
I'm assuming all those sounds are coming from the Zebra, right? Yeah.
I'd assume so, yeah. That's what he's doing. Yeah, as you can see, you just click and drag in and make your own chain.
That's really cool.
Really interesting, yeah.
How much does this cost?
So, you come down here. So, if you already have the Zebra, you can upgrade to the Zebra 2 free of charge.
That's nice. Very cool.
Yep. Yeah. And if you don't, it's €100 or €99.
Yeah. And I think that comes with a couple other things, right? Like a few Zebra things. Zebra 2, all Zebra sound sets. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's so cool. you get all the more. So you get all those preset packs as you go. So that's pretty good for €100. That's not bad at all.
As far as audio quality goes, they don't really get much better than this, do they? I mean,
how about CPU destruction? Is it similar to Diva?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say. As far as CPU drain.
I mean, the Zebra is actually pretty good itself. The original, it's pretty good for CPU. I don't know. I mean, this is a different vibe, though. This is a completely different vibe. So we don't know. It
probably scales as well, depending on your patch as well.
Mm-hmm.
How much?
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
On.
Very much.
But yeah, I think it's probably got potential to, use up a few cycles on your CPU.
I'm sure.
But you get bang for your buck, really. True. I mean, it sounds the ticket. You can do it's easily professional standard stuff.
Yeah, completely.
I'm definitely interested. I remember seeing that they were announcing that and being nice to Zebra owners as well.
I really like that. It reminds me in an opposite way of like the Strymon, all Strymon pedal owners of the Big Sky don't get the nice plugin or an upgrade path for the plugin, but here...
Oh, a discount is nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even like an upgrade path, like, so if you own it and you have it licensed, you get it for $100 or something. But here it's just like, hey, if you already own Zebra, you get all of this.
If you've got anything of ours already. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It would be, yeah. You hear a great company, just full stop, really. I mean, they give a lot of stuff out for free, and the stuff that you do buy is relatively, it's not overly priced for decent sound quality, and they are, as far as I'm aware, I don't know about the Diva somewhat, but I mean, you can just move them between. You can just move them. There's like multiple licenses and that. They're not very restrictive.
I would assume it's the same. I mean, I've only activated them on one computer, so I'm not sure, but I would assume if they do it one way with a bunch of synths, it would be with all of their stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember like the early days of VSTs where you would listen to one and you think, oh, it sounds all right in isolation. You put it into music and find it just sounds flat or a little bit sort of grainy or just, you can tell it's a VST. And it was like people like this that led the charge. That nowadays, you think, is it hardware? Is it software? I'm really not sure.
Doesn't even matter now.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and especially if you want, a big thick sound with a million notes playing at once, software actually lends itself to it better. And you don't have to sacrifice on the quality anymore. And it was companies like this that really sort of pioneered that, I think.
Yeah,
definitely. A lot to be said for that. These days, it's becoming ever easier to get a decent sound from inside the box, and a lot more producers and entire genres have been taken by just a laptop and a MIDI keyboard, it's really interesting to see. It paves new roads for all the musicians in the world. It's really nice to see. Completely. Well, that is it for the news this week. That was quite a bit of news. Quite a bit of news. I mean, we have a little bit of a special segment coming here because, I mean, we don't usually in the show we go straight to the round robin, but it is Black Friday, and this is kind of like the best holiday of the year for us lot.
Yeah,
I mean, screw Christmas.
If you're looking for new gear, It's not if you're trying to save money and not buy new gear. That is just the worst day ever.
This all started about something like it was a good time to buy presents for other people for Christmas, but now it's just
get gear. Who needs to buy Christmas presents for family, right?
Exactly.
Playing the song at Christmas on your new gear.
I mean, I can't afford to buy anyone presents this year because I spent it all on myself. So yeah, good Christmas tide for us all. Let's go to it for you. So we're going to start with let's do one of an all rounder, shall we? The latest coming out of Sound Toys. Now, Sound Toys, we all vibe with in its entirety. We all vibe it, and they've got some massive Black Friday sales going on. Somewhat, you put this in, didn't you?
Yep. Yeah, I mean 55% off Sound Toys 5, so from $500 to $230. It's not a bad deal if you're looking for a pretty awesome suite of plugins. I mean, it comes with all of their plugins, I believe. I always use Little Plate, Echo Boy, and Decapitator used to always get used. Now I use Tape Mellow 5 from Arturia, but I mean, Decapitator has its place still, like on the drum bus or something like that. It's a good way to go. I mean, $230, I think it was. Not bad for what you get. They're incredible sounding, and usually, especially with like distortions, soft or plug-in distortions, I always hear like a digital clipping, and things like that. Even on like light pushing, but with Decapitator, I only really get that if I go, over extreme. It usually just sounds like a nice saturation and gives it a little more crunch. Radiator's a good one too for distortion.
You use Devil Lock a lot.
Yeah, Devil Lock is crazy to get some really cool sound design. Like if you want those Doom, like what was it, 2016 Doom, the video game, the soundtrack with that like gritty, you make like 3 buses and do these crazy distortion routings. You can get insane with that one.
Very much so.
I think there were a couple other deals they were doing, like an upgrade path that was cheap, like a reduced price for upgrading.
They've been advertising like cheap individual plugins for some time, and that's how I got it originally. Because when you've got some plugins, they'll give you when you log into your account, they'll quote you for an upgrade for the whole lot. And the more plugins that you have, which you obviously pick up, when they're being sold cheap.
Yeah.
They count for an upgrade, and I don't know what it cost me, but I certainly didn't pay anything like full price when I did get it all. There comes a tipping point where it's right, well, I may as well just get the rest. And it's one of those things where I got it for a few effects that I really wanted, but I've used every single thing in that at some point and found some new favorites that I didn't think I was going to like. So, yeah, I'd definitely recommend it.
Let's have a look. I did this last year. So when they did this deal last year for Black Friday, I bought it, and I think it was probably the best purchase I've made for plugins. As Sunwarper said originally, they are absolutely fantastic, high quality, and I mean $229. It's a big investment, but you get a lot for your money there, and none of them are going to be wasted. As you said, 55% off upgrading. Yeah. 80% off individual plugins and gift cards for those of us who want to buy for our fellow producer.
And Kamikaze Shots in the chat said, I bought everything last year on Black Friday, never again. Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I feel that one. So that's Sound Toys. Before we get to the next one, because we're going to Native Instruments next, and we have Lars Haur in the lobby. Now, Lars is a massive fan of Native Instruments, so let's bring him in.
Opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for those who are new to the show, this is the point. About halfway through the show, we invite our patrons. We get to come on the show with us. They get the Google Meet link in the Patreon chat, and they come on and we have a chat. So this is the first time we've seen Lars Haur in the public realm. He has been around in the private realm. But
he's in our Twitter group all the time.
Exactly, yeah. So the man himself, we'll bring him in. Hello.
Hey, what's up, Lars?
There he is.
Hello. Okay, hang on a second. I can't hear you guys.
We have a thing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just if you're able to lower your volume a little bit.
Trying to read your lips.
Oh, he's not getting this.
You'll get this in a sec. Lower the volume. I see a BC Rich. I see I see a cigar box.
Let me see when he sees us. I'll mind.
Too loud?
Yeah.
Yeah, too loud. Yeah. Make it work. We'll make it work.
Hopefully we don't have to do this the whole rest of the episode.
See a way to go forward. But yeah.
Well, why don't we talk about a different deal while he's sorting this out?
Let's get it through, yeah. Lars, who is one of our patrons, like we say, and he does a blog, The Fringes of Sound, which is a great place to find all your eclectic different forms of noise, experimental, ambient, everything in the down tempo.
All sorts of electronic music, isn't it? Yeah,
it's beautiful. It keeps it going, and it's mental. It's lovely. It's lovely to see. One of our Audionautic label mates, FCC, has just helped to upgrade and change all the decor so it looks all beautiful and lovely. So
yeah,
go check it out, fringeofsound.com. It's a wonderful place. While we're sorting that out with Lars,
let's talk another deal.
Let's talk about another deal. We're going to talk about this one. Actually comes relatively from our patrons indirectly. This came up from 59 Perlin, who was chatting in our patron chat during the week. And the RC20 retro color is down from €100 down to $49.40 now. Either of you guys ever used this before?
No, most of what it can do, I believe I can do on the SP, so I just do it there.
That's fair enough.
What does it do?
This is your all-in-one lo-fi box.
Yeah.
All-in-one lo-fi box. Essentially, you've got there's a full effects rack, so you've got your standards like your compression and your overdrive and your distortion, etc. But you've also got ways to warp sound. You've also got ways to like a bit like the Tape Lo-Fi to saturate and distort the sound.
Is that reverb too or something?
There's a little bit of reverb on there as well, very much so. And it is it's a beautiful little box for €50. For €50, which is about $50 at the moment, give or take. If you are a beat maker or if you're into lo-fi, and I mean, let's face it, who doesn't like making lo-fi these days? This is a really good box. One of those where you buy it, and anything you've got instant lo-fi. So I mean, that's the best thing you can do for that, really.
Yeah. Are you thinking of getting it, or do you have it?
I don't have it. I had it at work for a little bit. If I'm looking for a quick fix, I'll use it. I currently don't have the money to spend €50 on it. If I did, I would, because it is great. Because again, it's one of those where if you don't want to, you can create a good lo-fi sound with a signal chain, stock Ableton or stock Logic, for example, and it works just fine. But if you want an instant lo-fi sound where you don't have to think about it, say you're on a deadline or a schedule, then it's perfect. You don't have to think about it, just whack it on. You can make it play in 2 minutes.
Eon, like the MPC, the most recent plugins they added, adds like their own type of RC20. I forgot what it's called, but it has the vinyl changes, the lower resolution things. It's a plugin for the MPC. So if you still have that one, you could always get it there too, but I don't know the discount. In the chat, Thomas says the wobble works wonderful on the RC20. Yeah, I mean, everyone loves a good wobble, right? When it comes to lo-fi or even ambient, it sounds good. Yeah.
It sounds a bit broken, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, that warble, that nice drift. I mean, it doesn't have to be lo-fi. That's the cool thing. You can just make things sound kind of old. It's a fun way of doing sound design too, even.
Yeah, a big fan of taking like voice samples and then putting it through that as well. Like things that you just wouldn't normally think of. Obviously, you've got your piano and guitar, but taking something completely off and just kind of just bending it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get some wacky sounds. So yeah, RC20, absolutely fantastic retro color. Now, here we go. Is he here?
Yeah, he's here. Can we hear you, Lars?
I can hear you guys now.
Hey, we can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to have you. How are you?
I'm pretty great, actually.
Yeah.
I managed to get off work early today, so I was just like, oh, shit, you guys are actually doing the thing. I can actually join the thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good to have you here.
I know. Say what?
How is getting all set up in the studio? How is everything? You all back to where you're at?
We're in the move.
So, I mean, as you can clearly see, it's not like 100% together, but it's together enough to do stuff.
Is that a BC Rich behind you?
It is. It
is. Is that for your ambient metal music?
I would like to start a metal project. I use it for a little bit of noise.
Nice.
It's not a great one. It's the it's like the stripped down War Beast, the Son of Beast.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That was when I was 18 and got a credit card at Guitar Center.
Mine was a Les Paul. I still used it for metal though, but I got a Les Paul.
Nice. Oh, my wife actually bought me one of those for Christmas like a few years ago. She got me she got me a pretty nice one. I was surprised. I was like, no way. Don't tell me how much you spent on this.
Why is it not behind you?
Because I keep it in the case.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. I keep my Les Pauls in the case too because we have a lot of humidity and like moisture, so they get a lot of nastiness. I keep the Strats and stuff here because they look better aged. But the Gibsons, they need to look pristine, right? They have like a thing when they get old, when they start looking older, they just don't look as cool. But the Strats, like you want the worn wood and the worn paint and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I just have a 4-year-old who is very destructive. So
well, that's another reason, I guess.
I came in the room one day and he had knocked the case off the wall, like he had knocked it over, and he's standing on it. I'm like,
oh man,
I love you, kid. I love you so much. I love you.
Well, should we talk about native instruments now that we got Lars here?
Yeah, we're saving this for Lars for when you turn up.
Are you a fan, Lars?
I am a huge fan of native instruments. I got the micro.
Nice.
I got the complete 32, and it's still in the box, but I have the original Machine Mark 1. I don't use it anymore because I got to get it fixed. The pads, you have to get these like sensors to replace them because you have to like really slam on it to get any sound out of it now.
That micro, is that the Machine Micro? Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do you use that as like, because you can use the the Machine as like a DAW, right, or like an MPC? Is that how you use it, or do you use it more as like a Ableton push almost or something?
So what I usually do is like whenever I start like trying to make something, I start coming up with ideas. Like I'm doing it all inside a Machine, and then once I have like everything I want, I load it up as a VST and Reaper. That way I can multi-track everything out and do the actual mixing. It makes really good sounds, but it's like as far as like mixing and like doing a mix down in it, like you might as well just like shoot yourself in the face. It's going to take you forever.
Yeah. Well, let's talk native instruments. What do they got going on?
So we'll start with that. So do you you talked about the hardware, Lars. Is there anything particular in the software, any of the plugins that yourself that take your eye?
So I really like Reactor. I don't have the full version of Reactor, but I always buy like a lot of the different like Reactor instruments. My favorite one, and I don't know if they have it on sale, is Form. I actually did a video. Yeah. I did a video a little while ago with me playing with it, but it's like I have this giant sample collection that I've collected like over the years. I measured it like 3 or 4 months ago, and it's sitting somewhere around like I think 430 gigabytes of samples. So yeah, I get to I get to go into Form and I get to move it all around, and like it gives you the ability to manipulate samples in a really cool way. But I also a big thing is like since I have a Machine, I'm always buying the expansion packs because it gives you a lot of like nice ready sounds, and like I don't use a whole lot of drum kits, but if you want drum kits, like there's always ones in the packs. So
yeah. I totally forgot they make guitar rig too. That's what I use. I can't see it very well. What is the discount they're offering?
It's down from €200 to €99.50. So you save €99.50.
And that's 6. I think I have Guitar Rig 5. That might be something I'm going to look into.
It's good fun, Guitar Rig. Really good fun. It seems to be that the sales themselves on native instruments are more of like your like traditional instruments. So you got your basses, you got your guitars, quartets, which is always nice. And also they've teamed up with Isotope on this occasion.
They might own them, I think.
Do they own them?
I think there's a few plugin companies that are all kind of like under one banner now.
Fair.
I could be wrong. If anybody knows in the chat, feel free to correct me, but I think they might own them. Or one owns the other or something like that.
This
I'm
one.
not sure.
Not sure. No. Okay.
No,
well,
I'm not sure who owns them. I always thought they were their own thing, but I know.
Pretty sure there was a buyout. Let me check.
I can't remember if they bought them out or they just partnered up. But
yeah, that could be too.
That could be a thing.
I use a lot of isotope stuff too. So
new umbrella company called Soundwide. They're together.
Fair enough.
You got the same dad.
Yeah.
My dad.
Soundwide is their dad.
Oh wow.
The really interesting ones coming out of Isotope, the reason I bring them up, or we got them here, is that they usually, for example, the Isotope Holiday Bundle, which is basically everything, comes down from €825 to €60.
Yeah, Isotope does some crazy drastic sales quite
That's
often.
How I ended
actually.
up with Isotope.
Yeah, it's not just Black Friday. They do it a bit more than that. They do some really good deals. But the good deals are usually for those lower tiered versions of the Isotope plugins. Like, you know how they have Ozone and then they have Ozone Elements, which does far less, but still does something. Like, that's usually what I found. But yeah, like you can see there, it's got Neutron Elements is down to like $40 or something right there. Yeah.
Yeah, the Ozone Elements is your basic one come through. That's going for 40, but if you spend an extra 10, you could get the elements of everything. That's pretty good as far as upselling goes. I mean, it's a pretty good way of doing it.
Yeah.
Very nice work in that way.
Anybody in the chat use any Isotope plugins that you'd recommend grabbing on this deal? Let us know.
I use all of them.
You use more, yeah. Well,
yeah, I use RX quite a bit, especially with like podcasts and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I've had to use it when I recorded some vocals for people before, because for some reason I always end up with people coming in to record stuff and they don't know how close to be to the microphone, how far away to be from the microphone. Like I love hearing you spit directly into the mic. I know when they say spit into the mic, like no, not actual spit though. Thanks, guys.
Make it work. I mean, just before we move on, I'm curious. Have you ever used Lars?
I have not used that one. I've been looking at that one for a while, but I don't know. I can't seem to pull the trigger on it.
That's fair. If you change your mind, let me know. I'm similar to you. I'm looking at it down from 99 to 99, 199 down to 99.50. Organic textures with eclectic synergistic instruments. Sounds sounds sexy, to be fair. So
and real quick before we move on to in the chat, Thomas, like I said, says he only has used Isotope RX for audio repair and up and down sampling. Yeah. It even I've had some clipped guitars where I've used RX to kind of declip them slightly, and it can work. Sometimes it causes some phasing, but if you do it right, sometimes you can. If it's just a little clipping, you can just get it right there to get it out. Oh, Willibrandt woke up nice and early. Got it. What time is it there for you, Willibrandt? He says, "Hi guys, up early and saw this was live." Well, hello. Happy to see you here. How are you? What time is it there?
Morning, man. What time is it in Australia right now? But we'd like to see. Carl, welcome. Hi.
Early morning, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, he said woke up early, so it's got to be morning. But define morning. That's the question.
Morning, yeah.
What other deals have we got going on?
That is actually that is the last of the deals that we've got on the docket. They are everywhere.
Yeah, there's tons. And if anybody has any that they think we should check out, let us know down below. Real quick, Willibrandt says it's 7 a.m. So it's not as bad as I thought it was. Okay. But that's still early. Lars, what's one you want to recommend?
So does anybody use plugins by Sugar Bites?
No, I've never even heard of them.
I have done.
You've never heard of Sugar Bites? Oh man. So I use here. Let me see. Can I share my screen on here?
No, I'm afraid only I can because I am I only have the power. I think I only have the power.
Oh,
it's cool. Just let us know what they're offering.
I've got them here.
Check it
I have
out.
got them here.
Yeah.
So it's like pretty much every plugin they offer right now is in between about looks like 30% up to 60%. So a lot of the ones that I use, I like to use Cyclop is really fun. It gives you like a lot of really weird, like if you're trying to get like dubstep like bass sounds, awesome. But my favorite one of what they make so far is Obscurium. Like I use that to get a lot of really weird synth textures. And the really cool thing about it is it can actually host VSTs inside of it. So you can use another synth inside of it and use it to manipulate the synth. It has this really, like you're seeing the main screen here. All those dots like correspond to all the different parameters over here, and you can adjust them however you want, and it goes along the grid, like right to left or left to right or back and forth if you so choose, to give you all these different like manipulations like automatically. Wow. So it is currently on sale for, I'm looking at Plugin Boutique right now. Looks like they got it for $70. I would highly recommend that one, especially if you want to do like weird synth textures, which I'm guessing most of us here do.
Very much
Very much so indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good shout, Lars. Thank you very much.
If anybody else wants to add one in the chat, let us know and we'll mention it. But I think as is now, we should probably move to the round robin.
Very much so. A small round robin this week because we had so much news and so much to share. Just a little one this week. Nothing too what's the phrase? Nothing too existential because everyone's sick. So
from Lars, he seems to be doing all right.
He's carrying us now.
Yeah. His energy.
His back's really hurting from holding us up right now.
I'm getting old. My back hurts no matter what. Now.
There we go. We're just strengthening it then for you. You're doing the reps.
This is physical therapy for me, guys. Come on now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So last week we had a round robin all about software, and I promised Sunwarper that we talk about hardware this week. And I'm a man of my word, and I don't want to make him mad.
I wouldn't have gotten mad, just disappointed.
Never upset Sunwarper.
It's not that I'm mad, I'm just disappointed, okay?
It's just too much. It's just all that caffeine, and you just.
I only have one cup a day. I don't know where this misnomer came about that I'm just this caffeine addict.
You can go from there.
Eon Lake, he always calls me a caffeine addict.
But yeah, so in the name of hardware, I wanted us to have a think about our studios and think about what hardware that we have in our studio that might be considered underrated. So either something that is really useful, which people don't really think about, or something that is especially a good value, for example. I don't know, like a cheap piece of gear or something like that. But something that brings a lot of value to your studio, but then isn't the first instance that you think about. Not a new synth or something like that. Everyone thinks about a new synth, that kind of thing. But what is sitting there that you really appreciate about the studio and is often overlooked? Who would like to go first this week, gentlemen?
I got something, but we've got a guest here.
Yeah.
So
if Lars has something ready,
I don't want to put Lars
by
on
all
the spot,
means. But
Lars,
not to put you on the spot, but if you've got something, if not, I can go first.
Well, here's the problem is like I don't have a lot of hardware, mainly because what's it called? I'm kind of cheap. So
well, I would say the controller, the machine, and those would count as hardware, even if they're powering, I can't remember, is that machine standalone, or is that one it has to have the app running?
So like the Micro and the Mark III, they're both you have to have the software running with it. But now they have Machine Plus, which is its own like hardware standalone controller.
That's it. Okay.
I definitely want as soon as they can give me third-party VST support.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. Because I mean, I have most of their plugins too, but I mean, you're gonna tell me I can't use all my favorite ones right now? That's kind of a deal breaker, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, so would you say that Machine Micro or the controller you've got is like your underrated piece of gear, or is there something else?
Honestly, they're what I use the most, my keyboard and my machine. Aside from that, I have all these nice guitars sitting around.
It's going to seem like the BC Rich.
BC Rich. I love it. But actually, like, I love the BC Rich, but my favorite guitar is probably...
Oh, I thought he was going to grab that little guy.
I
thought he was going to go with that.
My cigar box guitar.
Yeah.
That's a fun little waste of time.
Hey, with sampling, nothing is a waste of time.
Yeah.
That is true. That is very true. But yeah, I bought this guitar probably about, I've had it for like 6 or 7 years now.
Oh, that's sick.
And I'd never even heard of the brand before. But yeah, it's called Recording King. but it's really great. Like it gives you like, it's some of like the bluesiest acoustic sounds like I've ever heard come out of guitar. And it was like between that or a Fender. And I was just like, yeah, I like the way this sounds better. And people were like, you didn't get the Fender? I was just like, I didn't need a Fender.
It's all preference, man. It's all preference.
It's not all about
what sounds good to you.
Exactly. I like the snare drum in the corner as well, because you can't have no drums, right? I mean, no drums.
I got
at least one.
The story behind that snare drum is my daughter wanted to start playing drums, right? And I was like, oh, okay, well, let me just get you started. So I found that like a used deal at Guitar Center or whatever. I brought it home. I'm like, hey, here you go, honey. She goes, wham, wham. I'm bored.
Yeah, done.
Cool. And then that's how you start. That's how your entire music project started.
Pretty much, yeah. Oh, what's
that was
the
origin,
use?
Jan, like, what about you? What's your underrated piece of gear?
Wow. See, favorite gear is MS-20 and Sub-37. That's too easy. I've talked about the Micro Freak before about being really flexible and being quite cheap, but actually I'm going to go with something I haven't looked at nearly enough yet, and that's the Modal Cobalt 8.
Ah, yeah.
Was what I bought to be my new digital poly synth to do all of that stuff. It's got some really nice patches on it. One of them, I think, Sunwarper would like, called boards or something. I don't know, boards.
Oh, yes, indeed. Somebody on one of my videos on my YouTube mentioned, I think it was Modal Craft Synth. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, it's a tiny little thing. Yeah.
Oh, is that one of those like really small ones?
It's
like a Volca size or something?
Yeah. A little bit bigger than a Volca, like two Volcas.
Little tiny one with like the black up here and the white down here.
Yeah. I think I saw Ricky Tinez or somebody do a video with that, but he mentioned it and I was like, I gotta ask Jan like if he knows that synth.
I forgot what I paid for this, but it's got the best key bed of any of my synths, and it was cheaper than well, it's less than a quarter of the price of some of them. Yeah. It's got loads of different waveforms. The oscillators do lots of different waveforms, and they'll morph between them. There are a lot more filter types and so on than I've seen on anything else before as well. Some really weird notch filters and so on.
Nice.
There's just tons of stuff on it, and it's got inbuilt DSP. It's got nice reverbs and delays and stuff in it. And it's like a sub £500 digital poly synth. So I mean, it's a lot in one tiny little package. I really like it, and I really haven't used it much. It's on most of what I do, but I've not really delved deep into it or featured it or anything. It's just doing pad type stuff, you know. So that's something I'm going to be focusing on over the next year to sort of, I've got to milk that and get some more more mileage out of it.
There you go. And Curtis, what about you?
Mine's got to be my audio box from Presonus, which is a little 2-channel audio interface that I've got. Very dull. I mean, people got, it's not a great piece of gear.
Mine's going to be a lot more dull than yours.
Well, yours is the Akai LPK 25.
No, it's not. I'll explain later. Continue with yours though.
I like it. It was my first interface that I bought when I was like 14, something like that, and it's lasted me up. I'm 31 now. It's lasted me up until now. It's incredibly small. It's about not my mic. It's about that big. It's currently
that is small.
Yeah, it's about that big.
Considering how old it is, that's pretty small.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and it goes in my backpack, and it means that I can have high quality sound everywhere I go. My microphone at the moment is being plugged into it, and I'm running out my normal interface. I've actually got 2 interfaces running at the same time, which is really handy. And yeah, it's really good. You can mix on the move, that kind of thing. You don't have to be slaved to the internal sound card or anything like that. And it's got a really nice, like, just kind of crackly sound to it when you put guitar in it, and I kind of like that. I kind of vibe with it. It's nice. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. So Sunwarper, what is this mystery piece of gear?
You're gonna laugh, I think. So first, let me give a preamble. Thomas in the chat said that his choice would be his Akai LPK 25 USB MIDI keyboard. Use that one every time. And I was just going to mention that while it's not an Akai, which is why I said no to Curtis, I have been loving, and this is not my pick, but my 25 key Arturia, the MIDI Lab, having that just so handy, like right on my desk, not taking too much space. It's just been great for creativity. But my choice would be varying numbers of, let me see if I can even get this in, tripods and things that hold your phone. This, as you all know, I've been talking about this little tripod. And then, of course, this is Streamlabs. I'm running, like, how we do the show is on my phone. I can control it like a remote. So that, or I'll film with it. This one, the one up here, is great for getting video of any of my hardware or keyboards, things like that. And then, of course, a normal tripod. So, yeah, things that like hold the phone to film. Because if you're trying to do, videos or anything like that, it's nice to have a couple different angles that can accommodate all kinds of different setups.
Very much so.
And we also got in the chat, Willebrand said, my Korg mini delay monotron just doesn't get enough love. That is that tiny little guy, right? Because I think I have the blue monotron, not the delay one, but I think the delay one's like that black one. What were you going to say, Jan Lake? And I see you're grabbing one, don't you? Yeah, that's the one I have. Yeah, the blue one, the Duo, I think it is. Yeah.
No, I can't remember, actually. Sorry, it's gone.
Yeah, well, it's more important to talk about the monotron.
Yes.
Less
little thing.
So yeah, that's a very brief wrapped up round robin. It's interesting to shine a light on the underdogs of the studio. You know, people are always buying speakers and big heavy synth and stuff like that. It's nice to just the little things that make your workflow a little bit.
To be fair, we do contribute to that issue with every episode talking about gear and plugins, but this is our making up for that.
Yeah, it's all about balance. You got to find that harmony in the ebbs and flows of life.
Yeah, there you go.
So it works, that kind of thing. But that's what we get, and we don't have a marketing this week.
Well, yes, I have been very sick. I went to the Spotify masterclass, and it was very informative. I will relay that information next week. I have 2 pages of notes, and I looked at it this morning to compile it, and I was like, I can't do this today. So I apologize. I know I promised it, but I will talk about it next week.
I'm surprised that you got that much out.
I was very surprised. They just started going off on like super important. It started with like stuff that was like, yeah, okay, that's great. You know, like just the filler stuff. But then they started really talking about like, they interviewed editorial people, like people who do the editorial stuff. And they were just saying like what they look for, things to do. I'll give you one quick tip because it popped in my head. They said to link to your social media or anything in the submission. If you've got like social media around the song, or if you have a story about the song, like we talked about a couple episodes ago, having a story about your releases, they want to see that because they're like, we don't just look at Spotify. We want to see how you do in other places to see if there's like a story and things like that. So yeah, I'll explain more about that and elaborate next week, but that's just a little taste because I promised something. So
that's to look forward to.
Okay.
Yeah, very much so. We'll see where it goes. We all have playlists of some description, as always. And yeah, so nice to see. Does Lars, before we go, does Friends of Sound, does it have a playlist attached to it?
No, I have not set up a playlist for it. I still have the playlist that I've been going with for a while, but I'm considering doing like an actual On the Fringes like playlist. The problem I keep running into is a lot of the people, like I'd be doing it, I'm doing it through Bandcamp. Yeah, a lot of people just opt not to put their stuff on Spotify.
Yep.
So, which I kind of get because it kind of sucks that it costs so much money to put stuff up on like all the streaming services.
Well, there are free ways, and we'll be talking about that soon. In a couple episodes from now, we'll be talking about all kinds of different distribution paths. There are free distributors and things like that. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
At the same time, you might expect over time that those costs might go up because obviously, the more storage that is required, the more people...
bringing it back to that discussion.
Are we going to start?
We can't all be Taylor Swift, I guess.
I know. Well, it's our job to get in the way of Taylor Swift
and disrupt it, right?
Why we got to bring T Swizzy into this?
No, because that's what the article we talked about there. Like they wanted to gatekeep it. They were like quality music, like Taylor Swift and this and that. And no knock on Taylor Swift. I'm just saying, not everybody is,
consumers.
Yeah.
Anything
I should also say we do have a playlist as well, the Audionautic Radio playlist. I did not get to update it this Monday, but it's updated every week. The update will go live today. But yeah, if you want to check out the latest in unique and independent electronic music that is on Spotify, you can head to that. It's in the description. The link is in the description. But yeah, we'd love to have you over there. We recently passed over 300 followers, so we appreciate everyone checking it out and helping us all grow over there. And like we said earlier, together we grow. Everybody wins from, checking it out. So yeah.
If you're starting your own playlist, was it last week we were talking about tips?
That's right.
Doing that. So good ones catch last episode with some tips.
We have a ADSN playlist on our YouTube where we have every episode. So if you want to catch up, you can watch that. We also have some lovingly edited clips of specific segments over on our YouTube. So if you haven't yet already, subscribe and you can check them out.
Oh yeah, I love catching the clips on Instagram.
It's always a nice little thing to see. Keep it going throughout the week. If you can't tune in or you can't stay for the whole show, get these little bite-sized little bits of information. It's always good fun. Yes, very much so. We are tuning in early next week. Sunwarper has another EP out, and so
I haven't had an EP out in a while.
we have some more. So
it's been a month or two.
So Cracks in the Visage is being released this Friday. So on the 30th, we'll be tuning in half an hour early and doing our little playthrough as a party. So come join us for half an hour early. Before we go into the rest of ADSN, we'll be going through some of his live versions and live video performances and stuff like that. It should be a laugh. So come on down. We hope that you've enjoyed this show. It's been a wonderful Thanksgiving, Black Friday bonanza, as they could say. So we'll hope to see you next time. Thank you, Lars, for joining. It's been lovely to sit and chat with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very much so. Yeah.
It's another well as well.
Yeah, so good to see you. Hope you can make it again.
Well, I was lucky that I managed to get off work early today, so yeah.
Well, maybe it'll happen again if it happened this time.
Christmas.
Coming forward. It's always a pleasure. We love what you do over on Fringes of Sound. It's lovely to have it back after hiatus. It's really
very well informed reviews to be found over there.
It is lush.
Yeah. I need to get my website back up because I stopped paying for my hosting fees while I was on hiatus. So somebody was like, "What happened to the site?" I'm like, "Oh, there it is." Yeah.
Just say your rebranding 2.0 will launch soon.
Yeah. I'm working on it.
Yeah, there you go. And Willebrand says, stoked I caught this. Yeah, we appreciate you hopping in. It's great to see you here, Willebrand.
Hope you enjoyed your breakfast, mate.
Yeah.
Did you have some coffee while watching? That's the way to start the morning.
It's all about the coffee with you, isn't it? It's all about the coffee with you.
Morning. In the morning, it's all about coffee. Anytime after that, it's water.
He loves drinking it. If he can't drink it, he wants to know about other people drinking it. It's all about the coffee.
Exactly. Yes. Because if I'm addicted, I got to think about it at all times. If I can't be drinking, I hope someone else can, and I can live vicariously through them.
I like it.
I'll start drinking in a few hours from now. It's almost Thanksgiving, so
that's a good chat. To everyone across stateside, Lars, Sunwarper.
And Carl did say, of course.
Of course.
So I just wanted to, gotta have coffee, man.
Very much so. Everyone have a lovely Thanksgiving. Enjoy it. Have a great time with your families. Go be thankful for whatever it is you want to be thankful for. We'll be back next week. Until then, take it easy.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
All right.